indicated, the U.S. is going through the greatest period of racial ethnic diversification in its history. These are what the stats actually look like as of today, according to the Census Bureau. About 3/4 of the U.S. population is white, about 13% black, 6% Asian, 4% other. Other would include things like Native American, Pacific Islander, and people who categorize themselves as multiracial. 19% of the population is Hispanic. Hispanics can be of any race. There are white Hispanics, there are black Hispanics, there are Asian Hispanics, actually. When forced, essentially, to choose a race on a form like the census form, most Hispanics will choose white. So if we're trying to understand the state of racial ethnic diversification in the US, you want to strip out Hispanics from the white portion. And when you do that, the number is not 76%, it's actually only about 61% of the population is non-Hispanic white. A lot of marketers focus specifically on the 18 to 49 demographic. Debates can be had about whether that's wise or not, but that's what a lot of us in the industry do. And among that age group, the diversity is even greater. Only 57% of the population within that group is non-Hispanic white. And then when you focus specifically on millennials and Gen Z, it just gets increasingly and increasingly diverse. We're at the point now where we're really only years away, not decades, not like the middle of the century like you hear a lot of forecasts, where if you're focusing in on these specific demos, we're closing in very quickly on the point where whites are not the majority of the population in those demos. So that's the current state of affairs. Brands that don't sort of recognize that and operationalize around that are headed for a quick trip to the dustbin of history. All right, so Spike TV, until maybe a year and a half ago, our position was we were the cable network for men. Our audience was particularly skewed towards young men, and even more particularly skewed towards young white men. And so about a year and a half ago, we set out to sort of broaden our audience palette. So we decided, one, to let women into the treehouse. We began to target old people, like 35-year-olds. And we started to strategize around having a more racial and ethnically diverse customer base as well. To make sure that we were going about this the right way, not just in terms of developing our content, but in developing our marketing messaging, we set out on a research study to basically try to immerse ourselves in understanding how the different groups respond to marketing messages. We relied on surveys. We analyzed consumption data, Nielsen ratings, also digital behaviors as well. We conducted focus groups. We reviewed the professional and academic literature, a classic sort of intelligence gathering, market intelligence gathering approach. But to make sure, or to get more of a sense of what really resonates at a deep level with this particular market, we decided to turn to the tools of neuroscience. We worked with an organization called Neuro Insight, and you may have seen some variation of this kind of get-up before at some point. These people are watching videos while wearing caps that are fixed with electrodes that are capturing brainwave activity. That brainwave activity corresponds to the following metrics. One, how much attention is the viewer paying to what she's seeing? Two, engagement, which you should think of as sort of a measure of personal relevance. How personally relevant does this feel to the viewer as they're consuming it? Emotional intensity, self-explanatory, and approach withdrawal is the extent to which what they're watching is drawing them in, quite frankly, or the extent to which it is repulsing them. That's approach and withdrawal. One last metric that this technology captures is the extent to which what the consumer is consuming is being stored in their long-term memory. Peer-reviewed research is out showing that long-term memory is actually of these the metric that best correlates with actual consumer behavior. And so for our analysis, we focus first and foremost on long-term memory encoding of commercial content. We will also talk about some of these other metrics as well. So what did we test for this research? So we tested 3 ads for Spike programs, 3 promos. One for our show Ink Master, which is a competition show for tattoo artists. One for our show Life or Debt, which is like a financial makeover show. And one for our show Lip Sync Battle, where we have celebrities come in and lip sync to their favorite songs. We also tested some array of camouflage consumer products ads as well. And these ads were all embedded in a segment of one of Spike's programs, Bar Rescue. This, if you're not familiar with the show, this guy, John Tapper, he's a nightlife and bar expert. He goes into financially struggling bars and nightclubs and turns them around, essentially. So we embedded these ads into the program. We had the participants watch the entire length of video. And what we did for this analysis is we did a cell of white viewers, 50, and a cell of non-white viewers, proportionally divided among African Americans, Asian Americans, and Latinos. And so what you're going to see is the data broken out by those two groups, basically white and non-white, white and multicultural. Before I show you the data, I'll just take a few seconds to show you the Spike ads so you can get a sense of what it is that people were reacting to. Ink Master. Here is Life or Dead.
Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's why I'm here. The expertise I bring is to get them out of that financial hole, but it's not going to be comfortable. You need a kick in the ass, and I'm here to give it to you.
I'm not
Your
giving up a
TV is more important than your kids.
I'm still not able to get ahead.
You want to take my house?
This is worse than rock bottom.
You got to pay the price, man. You got to crawl through the glass. I'm going to teach you how to run this family like a business. I believe in you. I know you can do it.
Life or Debt, new series, begins Sunday, March 13th at 10 after Bar Rescue on Spike.
And Lip Sync Battle.
Spike's Lip Sync Battle is back for an all-new season.
I'm gonna tear up the stage, man. That's what I do.
You should just go home now, because it's over.
Wherever you are, good luck, 'cause you're gonna need it.
Only on Lip Sync Battle!
I can't even take this.
And next Thursday, it kicks off with Kevin Hart
Hey, Liv, no need to be nervous.
versus Olivia Munn.
You're going to come up a little short.
You understand that more than anyone.
Lip Sync Battle, hosted by LL Cool J. New season begins next Thursday at 10 on Spike.
Okay. So those are the Spike ads that were tested. So we did come out with a few observations in testing these ads and also those consumer goods ads as well. First thing that we observed is that the ads across the board tended to generate less long-term memory encoding among the multicultural consumers than among whites. This is what the data looks like. So you see the Spike ads on the left, the other ads in the middle, and you can see across the board there is more long-term memory encoding among the white viewers than among the multicultural viewers. The numbers, don't worry about what they actually literally mean, but they're part of that biometric scale, basically, that the technology uses. But here, just to give you some context then, is what the 50th percentile of all commercials that they've tested, this organization, Neuroscience, has tested where they would land and where the 80th percentiles land. So you can see there is a clear, significant difference, particularly with the Spike ads, in terms of long-term memory encoding. Now, is that a function of perhaps that's just the nature of the beast and that multicultural viewers just engage in less long-term memory encoding in general? Well, it doesn't seem to be the case if you look at the host program that was used to support the ads. You can see no difference at all, or if any difference at all, a tiny difference in the opposite direction in terms of long-term memory encoding. So it's not that the multicultural audience is, in general, less inclined to long-term memory encoding. There's something going on with the ads themselves. Second observation we saw is that the multicultural audience found the ads to be less engaging, which is, again, to say less personally relevant at a subconscious level. And here's what that data looks like. So again, you see significant differences across the board with the ads, though particularly, again, with the spike ads. A slight difference with the host program, but even still, you can see that even among multiculturals, the show itself was above the 8th percentile in terms of engagement. So it's not performing badly in terms of engagement the way the ads are. Personal relevance. So the next thing that we saw is that in terms of emotional intensity, the multicultural audience was experiencing a higher degree of emotional intensity. They were having a more emotionally intense response to those ads, okay? So less memory, less personal relevance, yet higher emotional intensity. And again, that's particularly strong with the spike. This is really what we're seeing with the spike ads. The unfortunate thing is that that emotion was intensely negative. Okay, so here's where we're talking again about attraction versus repulsion, and you can see very clearly that the multicultural audience was finding itself having more of a withdrawal approach, withdrawal reaction, more of a repulsion reaction to the ads across the board. Whereas for the program itself, they're almost neutral. So again, something going on with these ads. It's not connecting with the audiences the way we have been expecting and had been hoping. Anyone want to hazard a guess as to why that might have been? You saw the ads. What do you think? Say again? Not seeing themselves represented, not multicultural presence, multiracial presence in the ads, which is an excellent guess. But actually, if you think back, and I'll show you the ads again, there actually was multicultural, multiracial presence in every single one of those ads. They actually were there. But say again? Fewer. Oh, well, so that's an interesting guess. Actually going to come to that. That's actually not it. Oh, my colleague, Tayel.
Question for you.
Yes.
I wonder, is it, even though there was multiple talent, the context of the show was multiple? So, for example, you can have multiple ice skating. You can have blacks ice skating, but blacks don't ice skate.
Right.
So therefore, it's kind of like
Right.
ice skating, but it really didn't matter in the first place.
Right.
That distinction I'm making.
Yeah, absolutely. And in research that's beyond the scope of what we're going through today, we do come across that as part of it. But we're able to pinpoint, because this technology is capturing the second-by-second reaction. We're actually able to pinpoint exactly what's going on.
It's sort of the two together. Is it the context of what role they were playing in the story? So, the black couple who were deaf versus the host who's white, clearly knows how to match money.
So all these are all perfect responses, and they're exactly the kinds of things that we were thinking, that we would think, using all the other classic methods at our disposal. But when we actually look at the second-by-second response, we're able to pinpoint exactly what it is. There is a multicultural presence, and what they're doing is actually, it's not negative, it's not a turnoff, and the context in these cases was not necessarily unnatural or unrealistic, but it's the point at which the multicultural presence is manifest. We saw the response change within the ad, the moment you had the first prominent appearance of a person of color in the ad. I'm going to show you what exactly we're talking about here. Right around when we get to there. Okay, so I'm going to play the ad again. You're going to see two lines tracing out as the ad is playing. That's the sum of the average of the neurological responses. You'll see a heavy line and a dotted line. The heavy line is the multicultural audience. Okay, the heavy line is the multicultural audience. You see these two dotted lines running across. That simply marks sort of the upper threshold and lower threshold for a strong performance and a weak performance. Okay, so but watch what happens as the video plays out.
Ready, sir? when you start to resting, it's coming back.
Now, up to this point, you see the dark line, see where it's headed, the multicultural audience. They're not remembering, this is long-term memory coding. They're really starting to just not remember this at all. It's just not, it's not speaking to them. And then this guy appears on the screen, right here. And this is the first appearance of what is clearly a person of color in the promo, in the ad. And look what happens. Long-term memory encoding shoots up way over the threshold, way beyond the white encoding, which is not bad. It's in the middle there, which is fine. But it's at that point that the non-white audiences, their brains are turned on, essentially, and they go, oh, wait, there's something here for us. And then it shows up. And then from that point forward, there's not much space where the non-white audience is so far below the white audience, like you saw in the beginning. It changed the whole ad for them once that image appears.
Quarters of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's why I'm here. The expertise I bring is to get them out of that financial hole, but it's not going to be comfortable. You need a kick in the ass, and I'm here to give it to you.
So down here at 5 seconds or so, the very beginning, you know, now here's a case where the context doesn't matter and the topic doesn't matter. He's going into, you know, how tough the economy is, people living paycheck to paycheck, and that is, we see through other research that that's the sort of thing that actually, you know, minority audiences don't want to reflect on necessarily so much. But it's not until this couple appears on the screen, and I was a fraction of a second late, but when they appear on the screen that we come up over the threshold again for the non-white audience. We're down here, now the host, when we're down here at the bottom, actually the host of the show is on the screen, and he actually is Latino, he's actually Puerto Rican, but there's not much that we give you in that quick glimpse of him that you would necessarily know that. And at a subconscious level, the brain, it just wouldn't necessarily know that. And it's not until this couple appears on the screen, again, that the multicultural audience, the minds of the multicultural audiences go, oh, wait, something for us.
Your TV is more important than your kids.
I'm still not able to get ahead.
You want to take my house?
This is worse than rock bottom.
You got to pay the price, man. You got to crawl through the glass. I'm going to teach you how to run this family like a business. I believe in you. I know you can do it.
Life or Death, new series begins Sunday, March 13th at 10 after Bar Rescue on Spike.
And now the ad for Lip Sync Battle.
Let the battle begin!
Spike's lip sync battle is back for an all-new season.
I'm gonna tear up the stage, man. That's what I do.
You should just go home now, because it's over.
Wherever you are, good luck, because you're going to need it.
Only on Lip Sync Battle.
I can't even take this.
And next Thursday, it kicks off with Kevin Hart
Hey, Liv, no need to be nervous.
versus Olivia Munn.
You're going to come up a little short.
You understand that more than anyone.
Lip Sync Battle, hosted by LL Cool J. New season begins next Thursday at 10 on Spike.
Well, you know, it's there. Other than the branding page at the very end, you see very little relatively compared to what you saw before, relatively little separation between the two groups in terms of their cognitive response. Why? From the very first second throughout the ad, you saw people of color throughout the entire ad. So the minds of the multicultural viewers were primed from the very beginning to say, oh, okay, this is something for us. So this is what the data looks like before what we call the invitation, which is the appearance of the first prominent appearance of a multicultural character in blue, and in red after. See, so it is literally like someone flipping on a light switch. So that was sort of our big kind of takeaway. A couple other miscellaneous ones I just want to, that's kind of interesting. I think there was a comment earlier about the role of fear in the ads. Here's a different ad, one of the ones we tested for JBL headphones. I won't go through it because this is a long spot and we're running a long time, but there are a couple of points where there are characters in SAD who are in danger, who are clearly in danger. And here's one. The tiger is on the loose and he's chasing people around the park. And you see the multicultural response is actually positive. And in the other instances that we've seen in this and a couple other spots, we see the same thing. The multicultural audience actually responds positively to fear and danger. We've found, at least in the spots that we tested, the ads that we tested. And then just one last thing I wanted to do is show you. This is very quick.
A leading consumer testing publication recently tested the top laundry detergents. The winner, Persil 2-in-1, didn't only beat Tide, it beat every single detergent tested. Boom. Switch to Persil Pro Clean 2-in-1, #1 rated.
Oh, sorry there. All right. What I was trying to show you, I'm sorry, I skipped it over. What I was trying to show you is how very closely aligned, for the most part, those two lines were. And there was only one point where the multicultural line surpassed the white consumers line, and that was at the very end. It was at the very end, and it wasn't huge, but it was at the very end. And we spent a lot of time really trying to analyze and trying to figure out, is there something particular going on? There's a screenshot of the product, but there's a screenshot of the product earlier in the ad, and you didn't have that at all. So what was it? And then we realized it's actually not the video, it's the audio. It was with the audio, and it's at the very end of that spot, you hear, for those of you not familiar, I think it's the 1990s or 2000, hip-hop R&B song called This Is How We Do It, playing in the background. And there's other body research that shows that audio is actually a very powerful trigger, and in some cases more powerful than sight even. And so for a multicultural audience probably more familiar with that particular song, there's something happening again at the subconscious level. You would never see it or recognize it probably at the conscious level, but at the subconscious level, that is triggering memory encoding for the multicultural audience. So all that to say that multiculturalism is like a prism that allows, it refracts images and messages and allows multiple responses, multiple interpretations of the same message. Neuroscience is a great way to sort of get a feel for the differences in those responses and in those receptions. And again, any mass marketer that wants to prepare for the future has to sort of take these differences into account, particularly since the future, as we saw in the earlier data, is already essentially here. So that's my presentation.